Hi everybody. This is it's kind of an informal presentation. The idea is I've installed RAC a few times recently in a couple of different organisations, and a couple of similar things have come up, usually around the area of talking to the sysadmins, the network admins. If you're not an organisation where you're lucky enough to be, lucky or unlucky, to be doing all those roles combined. And you know how it can get, especially if it get a bit political and people not understanding. So really these have come about from installing 11.2 RAC for the first time, mostly in one place that was previously Solaris, running 11.1. Some of the points though are relevant to non-RAC. So, first thing, huge pages. By default, the amount of memory in Linux is in 4K blocks. If you get your, I won't go into the technical details, but tell your sysadmins to they've set a parameter in that file, and that causes the memory pages to be 2 megabytes, and that has quite a big effect. Makes your memory usage better. You kind of don't need to do anything as DBA, but there is an implication. Automatic memory management, memory underscore target, you can't use that. You have to set the SGA size and the PGA separately. It does have the effect as well that it will make sure that your SGA doesn't get swapped out, should stay in memory. So definitely point them at that if they weren't planning to do that anyway. The dependencies before you do an install, and they can be quite complicated. For a while there's been this great RPM around from Oracle's Linux repositories. If you can persuade them to do that, I've been in two situations where one, the sysadmins were happy to do that, another one, no, they wanted to, couldn't use that. That's Oracle's. They had to separately install all of the separate things. It doesn't just take care of the dependencies, all the RPMs that you want to get in. It also creates your users, sets the kernel parameters, and at this stage, around this, you've got to make this decision when you're installing 11.2 with RAC, is separation of users. In the discussions with your system admins, whether or not they're using this, are you going to have an Oracle user for the database, or are you going to have a user for the grid infrastructure and for the database? Now, I've got a very strong preference to have one user for all, but I've lost that argument every time I've had it, and it's a real pain, because it's like if you're moving around, you have to do .orenv to change your Oracle seeds. If you want to do something slightly different in a different database, you constantly have to come out of Oracle and into the grid user, backwards and forwards. So yeah, unless there's any strong reasons, security reasons or whatever, I would try and go for one user. I'll come back to scan listener. Again, around separation of users, sometimes if you as a DBA, if they're telling you need to stop and start the whole stack, you're responsible for that. You either need to be able to get into root to run that command, or have sudo access to do it. Right, the scan listener. Trying not to go into too much detail. I don't know how many of you know about it, but Oracle 11.1.10. This is a typical JDBC RAC connection string where you've got the two hosts and the ports. What scan allows you to do is just specify one name for to access your database. You can have a connection string like that or like that. Subtle difference there is the slashes are missing. We already had all the app servers configured like that. We weren't going to touch them, so we were going, we don't need no stinking scan. What's all this? And the network admins were going, what's this stupid thing? And so, but it's very hard to install 11.2 RAC without scan. You've got to really budge around it to try and not do it. So we thought, look, we might as well put the thing in. So what you've got to do is your network admins need to provide a DNS name. The DNS will resolve with, to at least 3 IP addresses round robin. So randomly return one of those, and in this case these 2 RAC hosts will be one will be hosting 2 of the scan addresses, the other one. And this is where we've been caught out quite a few times. Everyone gets really confused about what they have to do with firewalls. Firewalls, by firewalls I mean on the network, or IP table firewalls on the Linux servers. You have to have open that in RAC you've still got your virtual IP addresses on each host. They have to be open, and the scan addresses have to be open as well. All 5, in our case, addresses need to be accessible, and we've been caught out with that. Not everywhere can get to everything properly. Right, quick point, having set up scan, right, that's your old format. Go to that host, that port, that SID. You've now set up scan. If it's all right, well, great. I will take advantage of this. I'll go around and I'll simplify all my connection strings so that now it doesn't matter if a particular host is down. So you would think that's what you do, but there's something very subtly wrong about that. And I've lost loads of time on this, twice, because I forgot the second time. Does anyone know what's wrong with it?
Colon.
It's the last colon. Yep. Really annoying. You can Google, you can look, and you just don't quite stop. Yeah, if you're specifying a connection string with a service, not a SID, it has to be a slash. There's a couple of other caveats on this. Pre-11G clients can't do that. So if you've got a pre-11G client somewhere, even though you've done all your nice scanning and that, you've still got to direct them at one of the nodes or whatever. And we also had one with old JDBC drivers. I can't remember what versions, they couldn't support it either. So we have got 1 or 2 dodgy old apps connecting in to particular SIDs. Couple more points. I was trying to install it, and I got a pointer. Permission denied. Can't run the installer. If you look in FS tab, by default, if you're sysadmins, if you're working in a high secure place, sysadmins are hardening the server down. They won't let you execute out of temp. You Google it and you think, aha, you can make a different directory, set that, and do your install. Trouble is, this is RAC. It installs onto the first node, copies across onto the second node, and tries to use temp again. So you need, ignore that workaround, you need to ask the sysadmins to fix that problem properly, to give you exec permission on /tmp. There's another problem on the Oracle. This is probably one you're less likely to see. The set UID bit. When you run your root.sh, after you run your root.sh, one of the things it does is it changes those permissions. That's so other users can run the Oracle executable, or if you're connecting in via a different, if Grid owns the listener, it will then have a problem executing Oracle, connecting to this. So you need to, I haven't included it here, but basically, I'll show you the, excuse me, you see this thing here, that by default that probably won't be set, you don't want that set on your Oracle home executable. It probably won't be, it normally isn't. It was actually set by default coming from our NetApp, so the Linux server looked okay. So I've come up with a few pre-installation checks that I do in addition to the normal ones. I create a file on temp called test.sh, which just pings localhost. I make it executable, and I just run it. Do that on both nodes, then you know you can execute from TMP. And the last one, create a file in your Oracle home, and just check you can set these bits. It'll stop you getting almost through an installation, having to abandon it. That was it. Thank you.